Hey everyone, I'm Vampire Phoenix. Let's just jump right into it. We're gonna go over everything you might have missed in the new gameplay release. Okay, so right away we see the objective here, we see difficulty, we see start expedition. Those are all things that are normal. First off, I also want to point out the map here looks beautiful. I think it looks really great. It's huge, it looks very large, plus there's gonna be caverns that you go through inside, a lot of verticality. So as wide as this is, it's going to be a pretty big map. It's going to feel pretty good, I think, overall, but we'll see when it comes back. Then next up here, we see the squad. You can have up to 4. We already knew this, but look right next to that. We have consumables. Now in Mass Effect, they had consumables as well, which were like incendiary rounds. They had cryo rounds, so you could freeze the enemies with your bullets. They had a Cobra RPG, life support things. Different consumables that let you survive much easier, do more damage, or just be a better team support. So it looks like you can invite all your friends as well. For this, they're doing a stronghold, so there would also be matchmaking. And you can see here that the Ranger and Colossus are level 30, but the Storm is going to be level 1. Now that is very cool because that lets everybody play together. It will make it so that level 1 isn't just getting their ass kicked every time they try to jump in with their friends that have played non-stop since the game release. This way you can kind of jump in and out. You won't be as strong physically because you have less abilities, but you will be able to play with your friends even if they play a lot more than you. Here's a cosmetic thing you might have missed, nameplates. Now, in other games like Destiny, you were able to have the custom nameplates, different designs in the background. You can see that the Colossus has these cubes that kind of go into sort of like an optical illusion. You have yourself, which has a picture of the Storm Javelin, and the Ranger has some sort of other design. These are probably things that you can unlock through different achievements, similar to other games, purely cosmetic, but kind of just display a personality in these loading screens when you're teaming up with other people. Here we get a better look at the helmet of the Colossus. It seems that you have like a tiny little head and a giant cage. So I wonder if you can customize the tiny little head as well as the cage, because it shows the two different Colossus here and they have different designs on the outside. I just want to know that when you're looking at those animations when you come in, if you can get a better helmet, because that one looked pretty plain, not too big on it. Maybe a different visor at least, so it's not just that line across. Maybe you can have other ones as well. Alright, so they're waving here. That's cool. I'm sure they'll add a lot of emotes. That adds a lot of depth to the world. I really like games like Fortnite where you're able to have all these different kind of emotes. It just makes it feel a little less serious, which ultimately in the long run makes it feel like a game that you want to play a little bit more. PUBG, I think, takes itself a little bit too seriously, whereas Fortnite is like, nah, like I'm gonna do this backflip trick. And we already seen this mechanic of the waterfall cooldown, which is pretty cool. Also, if you dive downwards, it will cool your jets. You don't have to look for a waterfall every time you're trying to not overheat. When you fly up or straight, you are going to build that charge of overheat, and then you are going to fly down to cool it off. This way you can spend more time in the air for those who can master it. Alright, here we see the Colossus get a pickup. This is a weapon, an epic pistol it looks like. Now you don't get to see what pistol it is, but you get to see the type at least. Now we do know that the Colossus does not have the ability to use pistols, only those heavier weapons, not the lightest ones. So you'll have to use it for a different character. Now there's some confusion about this weapon here that the Colossus just used. It is a railgun. I'm not sure if it also has that fire effect always, but in certain clips in this video, you see it have the fire effect and not have the fire effect. So it may just very well be if it's close to the ground, it lights objects on fire, but they've called it a railgun. They've called it a flame wall. That very well could have come from the other Colossus, but it looks like this one was firing it, so it doesn't make sense. Now, Here we'll see the Storm Javelin come in and immediately start firing what looks like these little shards, like ice crystal type things, which end up freezing these enemies, allowing for the Colossus to combo and just completely shatter them into a million pieces. That is really cool. Master of Elements, Storm for the win. Really awesome. We get to see other abilities later on too. Here we see once again the Colossus going through with a shield. The shield itself does regenerate after not taking damage. It looks like that very last couple seconds when the shield was up, you can see it's no longer taking damage and the gold meter goes back up. So you can use it indefinitely. It probably just breaks for a little bit, similar to the overheat mechanic. After that, we see the Storm use possibly its ultimate, but maybe an ability. It primes all the enemies with electrical damage, so you can combo that. And you can see that the Colossus does make use of its mortar gun. Now, I really love the verticality in this. They're just going up, down, up, down. It does not feel like you're limited. You know, you could go anywhere you want within reach and kind of tackle things the way that you want. I like it a lot. It feels so open to go around. Now I'm just going to be skipping through a bunch of parts trying to show you all the good stuff. Here we see the railgun again, except this time it doesn't cause fire, so it's very confusing as to what triggers that or not. And again we see the railgun against the enemy and knocks him out of the sky. It does a lot of damage. I know that the difficulty is on normal, so it's possible that these enemies are a little bit leveled under our character here. We see a combo here, and I want you to notice all these different pickups on the ground here. And you can see what they do. Now, these ones here, they look like they have an ammo button, but when you pick them up, we'll see what happens when he walks over it, right? Yeah, it refills the weapon in hand. Now, I'm not sure if it refills both because the other one looks like it's at max ammo anyway. All right, and there's the railgun, but it caused an explosion, so it's not sure if that was from the railgun itself or from the turret blowing up. I'm not sure if the red pickups are health regeneration. It looks like it might be, but it's hard to tell because our Colossus is already full on health. Here we see a really cool ability from the Ranger that we haven't seen before. It's like a light beam, like plasma or something, that goes from one enemy to another. It's really cool. I wonder how many enemies it will bounce back and forth between. It seems to only last about a couple seconds or so. So here we go. Grenade launcher is confirmed. Super cool. Really awesome. I'm looking forward to that. So you see here that the Ranger launches this light. It allows them to see, but there's already bioluminescent stuff underneath. So I'm not sure how useful the light's going to be, but I really like that in these types of games. In RPGs where things get really dark, it's nice to have certain abilities that let you explore better, which is going to be cool when you're discovering things like runes and stuff hidden in different spots, different pieces of lore. As you can see here, the Colossus does pick up that piece of lore right there. She's gonna do a superhero landing. Okay, so now we have ourselves the actual boss fight. We can see the damage numbers. The name of the boss is the Swarm Tyrant. Very cool. Seems to launch out poison damage if you get too close to its front. It has these large sacks that are the critical points, and we see that it gets lit on fire several times over and over again, priming it for extra combos. In the background, you see the Storm Javelin launching ice crystals still. Really cool. It looks like you have that ability that can keep going over and over again, maybe to the point where you can kind of use it as an extra weapon versus an ability. You see, they just keep launching those ice crystals, so really fast cooldowns for that one. And then we see the lightning again. It's very possible that that is an ability, could very well be an example of its ultimate. Also, we get to see this overheat mechanic here. Really cool. This is the first time we get to see it. Now, if you overheat, it does last a very long time, almost 10 seconds it seems, on how long it takes before you can use your jets again. So really crucial. Keep an eye on that meter. Don't let yourself get overheated. And here we go. We have the next phase of the battle where the Storm Tyrant is going to run away. A new wave of enemies are going to come out. As you can see, there's different points in the health. Those are probably also good indicators to when the phases are going to start. So we see this shot here, and it's hard to tell if the flame wall came from our classes or the other classes and they fired at the same time, but you do see the railgun get launched. Now I want to go back for a second here. Now you can see that when the railgun launches at the Swarm Tyrant, it does not go on a cooldown until the next shot. I think that's probably a good mechanic where if it hits like a crit or something like that, that it gives a chance to not be used so you can use it again right away. There's been other things like that in previous Bioware games, which is very cool. And here we go ahead and see the ultimate as well. We've seen it before, but now we get to see that you can use it multiple times. It looks like you might be able to use it up to 3 times. It looks like there's 3 chunks in that bar. Also on the left and the right are the Ranger and the Storm. Now the Ranger uses their ultimate, which is the barrage of missiles. And then the Storm might be using its ultimate as well. If all 3 are using ultimates at the same time, that seems pretty likely, where you see this big cloud of gas get lit up with electricity. And that is very cool. So I think it's possible that that Storm Lightning may have 2 forms. It might have an ability of the Storm Lightning, and there may be a much more destructive version of that Storm Lightning. Anyway, that's going to be all from me today. I'm Vampire Phoenix. Thank you for watching. If there's anything I missed, leave it in the comments below, but stay nerdy, my friends.